Jewish story. This week's story from the Holocaust is taken from the book The Survivor, written by Jack Elsner. On that Sabbath morning, Commandant Feiks decided to end those centuries of coexistence once and for all. When the trucks entered the town, they headed straight for the Jewish quarter. The SS announced their presence by firing machine guns at random into the clusters of small frame houses. No one was yet on the street. In a few seconds, dozens of men, women and children began to flee out of back doors and windows, heading for the nearby woods. Feiks ordered his men to cut them down. They swiftly obliged. Soon bodies were lying about in small pools of blood. Now the SS blocked off the narrow dirt streets as the Ukrainians went from door to door to force the inhabitants out of their homes into the square next to the shul, the small village synagogue. Frightened families began to fill the square, mothers and fathers, weeping children, elderly grandparents. The families of small-town Polish Jews were so tightly knit that only brute force could separate parents from children, brothers from sisters. Family members often prefer to die rather than be parted from one another. In this, Feiks' men once again obliged. At last, perhaps 700 or 800 souls were gathered in the square, weeping, clinging to one another, praying. Still in my truck, I watched the scene with growing dismay. To allay their fears and avoid total panic, Feiks ordered a number of able-bodied adult males to go back to their homes for some belongings. "Take just what you'll need for the trip," he commanded. "When the trucks arrive, you're all going to another ghetto. We have work there for you." At gunpoint, he also separated about 50 young men from their families for work at Bujin. These men were immediately loaded onto our trucks. The remaining Jews, the weeping women and children, the old and the sick, Feiks ordered into the shul, their house of prayer. "Pray for a safe journey," he told them. "You're all going on a long trip." The terrorized Jews slowly crammed into the small wooden structure until it was overflowing. They suspected his motives, but they had no choice. They prayed in fear. They waited for trucks that were never coming. I could detect Feiks' glee as he'd ordered the doors and windows shut. He had them in their own house of God, on their own Sabbath, in the company of their own sacred scrolls. Then, as I watched in horror, I saw Feiks toss a can of gasoline on the porch. He was roaring with insane laughter as he picked up his submachine gun. He whirled round as though in a peculiar state of ecstasy. Then he fired the gun at the can. In an instant, the gas exploded. Wood and flesh fueled the flames. More gasoline cans were hurled. The entire structure and everyone in it was ablaze. The screams rose in deafening chorus with the flames. Some people tried to break out through the windows, but machine guns mounted on the trucks cut them down mercilessly. Sick to my stomach, I watched the inferno from a distance. All my own fears, anguish, and self-pity vanished. I wanted to jump on Feiks' neck, to squeeze it, to wrench the last breath out of his body, but my mind told me I was helpless. All I could do was turn away my eyes to the forest and vow to survive, to escape, to tell the world what I had seen. Please pass on this story.